All right, I'm going to record this video in case I ever decide that I want to go ahead and publish it. I've been promising all my friends and followers out there that I'm not going to say a whole lot because people have responded to me that maybe I should just tone it down because I could get myself in trouble perhaps by expressing my opinion too much, and because some of my friends and family have different views than I do. So, but I'm going to record this so that my feelings are recorded somewhere, and in case someone ever wants to hear what I have to say, what my opinion is, you'll be able to hear it. And I may post this. I've had 2 videos that have not been posted on YouTube for whatever reason. I'm not sure what they were. I tried to post them, they didn't go through. I suspect I know why. I think that we all know at this point that this entire probe into the President of the United States has been a strategy to at first undermine the election of the president and then to unseat the president if he should get elected. I believe that the deep state, that some are calling it, is so certain that they are untouchable, that they can blatantly break the laws and the rules of the Constitution of the United States, and that they are untouchable. They truly believe that, because the American people, number one, have become too complacent in allowing the government to do the right thing. 2, the American people don't believe that they could do anything about it, even if they did agree that our government is corrupt. And number 3, and this is the saddest part of the entire thing, the American people continue to be entertained by the resist movement and by our president, who seems to be somewhat of a entertainer in his own right, even while he's trying to govern from the executive level of our country. But make no mistake, this is not a game that the American people want to lose. There's a game being played, all right. There's a game being played by the ruling class of our country who believe that they need to be in control of you and I, because we don't know how to be in control of ourselves. We are on the verge of a totalitarian regime being run by certain people who are not even career political officials right now. There are people who have billions of dollars who are funneling those billions of dollars into the resist movement, into the undermine the American way of life, in order to gain complete control of us. If you think about where we're at right now, just think, I mean, just if you do what I've been doing and just sit still, clear your mind, and think about what has been going on since 2015, at least just for the election. Let's just talk about the election. Never mind what's been going on since before Obama got elected, even with the Bushes and the Clintons, all the way back to Reagan, all the way since John F. Kennedy. We've had this movement in place to undo the American way of life. But just think about this election we just came through and what it and how it came down. The powers that be, including Republicans and Democrats, were so convinced that Hillary Clinton was going to be the president of the United States that they bet the farm on that fact, that Hillary Clinton was going to be the next president of the United States. All the money, all the corrupt funds that went into the idea that they could not be uncovered, the corrupt movements, the breaking of the law, could not be uncovered because Hillary Clinton was going to be president. All the things that have happened in the Obama presidency could be continued. All the illegal acts, all the executive orders that Obama put in place, laying the groundwork for the final move in taking down Americanism as we know it, would have been in place if Hillary Clinton had become president. These people were so certain of it, they had no doubt. And they knew they were untouchable. And they would have been untouchable if Hillary had been elected president of the United States. Without doubt. There is no question that that would have been the case. There would have been a push to try to figure it out. There would have been a push to try to investigate, but it would have never gone anywhere the way it is now with President Trump. If you think about it, because of the arrogance, the overconfidence, and the money behind this resist movement, they have been so blatant in breaking the law and taking down the president that it's getting ready to backfire on them, boomerang on them. If you will only sit still long enough and consider all the facts that have happened since the beginning of the email investigation into Hillary Clinton's corrupt State Department. All you have to do is put your political beliefs aside. But first of all, be honest about how we used to operate in this country. Democrats and Republicans worked together to make things happen for the betterment, for the better of the constituencies that they were representing in this country. But there's been this undertone for over 50 years, driving a wedge between true Americans who got along even if they had differing beliefs. They got along, and we did fine, and we could have continued to do fine, except for this undertone, back office, underground movement to tear us down and to rip us apart so that the government could come in and be our savior. So I urge all of you to do what I've done. Take the time to stop. Stop being entertained for a minute. Stop being driven by your liberal beliefs for a minute or your right-wing Christian beliefs for a minute. Just set that aside. Take those particular things that have kept us on the right and the left peacefully living for the last 2 centuries while working for equality and everything, and working fine toward that end, getting through the oppressive stuff. We've been getting through it. We've been getting the equality thing to a manageable place where we're all in good standing with one another. But take the radical thoughts and set them aside for a minute, because that's what we've got here. We've got some radical thoughts that have been brought to the table that were gone for a period of time, and all of a sudden now they're back. And just think about the facts surrounding what has happened in this election beginning in 2015, even before, up until now. In our country, before you can be investigated or charged with a crime, there has to be a crime committed. You cannot look at someone and go, hey, we think there might have been some kind of collusion or something going on, therefore we're going to assume that you're guilty, therefore we're going to go ahead and say that there was a crime, and we're going to go in and investigate and try to find a crime. We all know, if we pay attention to the truth, pay attention to the laws of our country, that there has been no crime even stated, because there is no crime. There's no such thing as a crime called collusion. There is no such thing called nobody's been charged with obstruction of justice. No one has gone to the President of the United States and said, sir, we're charging you with obstruction of justice or collusion or conspiracy to do obstruction of justice or anything like that. But they have run this man through the mill since the beginning of 2016. Without even letting up. They have never charged him with anything. And the government has put millions of dollars, untold man hours, has had this president operating under a cloud the whole time. If you are a Democrat, ask yourself this. If President Obama had been put through this, what would you be saying about it? What would you be doing about it? If the obvious evidence against Republicans had been pulled out, just been pulled out against McCabe and against Comey and against Strzok and against Page, what would you do? What would you say? How would you be reacting to that if it had been Obama? This is true evidence, evidence of a crime. There is true evidence that a crime has been committed here by several people. If the Secretary of State had been a Republican instead of a Democrat, Clinton, and the things that had happened had been done by a Republican, with the email servers being destroyed, with documents being disappeared, cell phones that were government property being hammered down and bleached. If all these things had been done by Republicans, what would you do to that Secretary of State if it was Podesta or someone else who was, or Rex Tillerson, who that had been brought forward against? And if you had found out that the director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and his subordinates had worked to cover that up, along with the Attorney General of the United States, what would you demand? What would you do? Be honest. Be honest about what you would be doing to get to the bottom of it. I'm really beside myself with this resist movement, this impeachment movement, based on nothing other than our president is a white rich guy who won the election. And the Democrats are so distraught over that fact that they're doing everything that they can to take him down. We know this is true. You know it's true. I know it's true. I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I'm a moderate. And I'm tired of this. Okay? I voted for Obama once. Okay? Once upon a time, I voted for Obama. Check the record. Listen. As a citizen, one a citizen to another, we need to put down put aside our unbelievable belief in being entertained by a mainstream media that has been pummeling us with false reports. We have to hold them accountable. We have to, as American people, we have to demand that news become news again. There used to be a time when agencies that kept reporting false reports like the New York Times has been doing. I was listening to a report today where they cited at least 5 different reports. I'm talking about devastating reports that have come close to ruining people's lives, that they had to renege on. They had to do major corrections on because they just weren't true. Stories that when they were first told resulted in massive whiplash across people's lives. I'm talking about damaging stories that were too late to be recovered from once they'd been aired and put out there based on false information. The latest one, that Cohen's phones had been wiretapped, and then this lawyer for the porno star who came out and said he knew that to be a fact. Check the record. He came out and said, "I understand that's the way it is." Oh yeah, and he even later said it's a fact. And then the New York Times comes back and does a correction on that story, saying his phones were never actually tapped. There was never any real wiretapping on them. There was no listening in on people's conversations. Well, how much damage was done before they did a recall on that story? There used to be a time when news agencies were held criminally liable for telling lies. Okay? And whether they, we had an anonymous source. The anonymous source lies to us, but we told the story anyway. They need to be held liable. Listen, guys, all I'm saying is we as the American people need to stand together against what's going on in our country right now, whether you're Republican or Democrat. Whether you like our president personally or not, you have to give our president the opportunity to do the job he was elected to do. There was no collusion or mismanagement of our election that would have caused any difference in the electoral process that made him president of the United States. Hillary Clinton lost the presidential election because she was just not a good candidate. Okay? And I can tell you that if she had become president, after all this stuff about the email and all the other stuff, the uranium one and all this stuff, there would be still a massive investigation. It would have proven out to be that she is a criminal. Maybe. Okay? I'm not trying to say she's guilty without proving it. Okay? But there was never a proper investigation. And if you think about it honestly, if you look back on it, the way that a lot of people are doing the investigative reporting right now with true facts, without trying to cover it over and color white black, the facts just don't jive with what is being reported out there with that whole Hillary Clinton thing. Okay? You and I as American people have got to wake up and realize that we have been given a snow job. I have done my own research. I don't believe anything about this collusion story. I don't believe anything, that would cause me to want to see President Trump removed from office. Bill Clinton should have been removed from office. He should have been out of there for what he did while he was president of the United States. Okay? What he did, about the only thing that Donald Trump might have done, and that's not even been proven, because she said that it never happened in her agreement with that money that she was given, is having an affair with Donald Trump back in 2006, 7, whatever it was. I don't care, and I don't think any of the American people truly care. Doesn't matter. Doesn't hold water. Doesn't make a difference. The man looks like he's become a Christian. It's all good with me. He has a right to practice his religion. Am I right? Bottom line is, folks, our country's being sold down the river. Okay? The Chinese have been ripping us off, tearing us to pieces, and are laughing all the way to the bank. It's being proven over and over again. Look at Apple right now. That's one of the points I want to make here, and I'll get off. But let me just make this point. You, as an American, need to stop. Just please stop. Do your own research into what's going down here. And then make your own decision. Think about what's happening here. Think about what's really true. Think about where the facts are. Look at the evidence yourself that's starting to come to light, and make a decision as an American about what needs to happen. That's all I'm saying, okay? That's all I'm saying. We need to make this stop, because the American way of life is being jeopardized, but in ways that we can never get back from once it goes down that path it's going down. So I'm just saying, we got to get hold of this, okay? Go back and now go look at Apple. You want to talk about selling the American soul for money? Look at Apple selling their soul to the Chinese. How many of our companies have sold their soul to the Chinese for a profit and sold the American way of life down the road? Love you guys. Bye.